Welcome back to Real Epic Recaps. Today we're diving into Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone versus Star Wars: A New Hope. We've got chosen ones with zero qualifications, mentors who definitely skipped the full disclosure policy, villains powered entirely by unresolved trauma, and sidekicks who are honestly more competent than the main characters. Basically, two universes proving that if you give a teenager destiny and a vague prophecy, chaos is guaranteed. So grab your wand, ignite your lightsaber, and prepare for a psychological showdown. The ordinary world. Luke, moisture farm, sand, more sand. Dreams of leaving but stuck doing chores like a depressed space teenager. Harry. Under the stairs, emotional damage, zero birthdays, lives with people who make stormtroopers look warm and nurturing. The call to adventure. Luke. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. Translation. Please abandon your stable lifestyle and fight fascism. Harry. Giant man breaks down the door and says, "You're a wizard." Translation. School is now extremely dangerous. The refusal of the call. Luke. I can't go. I have responsibilities. Translation. Uncle Owen said no. Harry. Honestly skips this step because his alternative is returning to the Dursleys. He packs immediately. Meeting the mentor. Obi-Wan gives Luke vague spiritual advice and a weapon after 15 minutes of training. Osha would like a word. Dumbledore, plus Hagrid/McGonagall, offers cryptic wisdom and sends children into life-threatening school activities. Crossing the threshold. Luke leaves Tatooine and enters a galaxy of smugglers, rebels, and people who cannot aim. Harry walks through Platform 9 and 3/4 into a castle where staircases move and ghosts have more stability than the adults. Tests, allies, and enemies. Luke's crew, Han Solo, chaos with a blaster. Leia, competence. Chewbacca, emotional support carpet. Harry's crew, Ron, loyal panic. Hermione, walking encyclopedia. Neville, accidental hero energy. The big ordeal. Luke, Death Star trench run. Basically a high-stakes video game with zero save points. Harry, underground dungeon with puzzles, giant chess, and a professor literally wearing evil on the back of his head. The reward. Luke blows up a moon-sized weapon and gets a medal ceremony like a Space Olympics. Harry saves the stone, wins house points, and makes Gryffindor insufferable for the rest of the school year. Return with the elixir. Luke brings hope back to the rebellion. Harry brings trauma, fame, and a lifelong inability to have a normal school year. Archetypes. The hero, also known as, why is this child responsible for saving everyone? Harry, a kid who just wanted a normal school year but instead got a snake in the basement, ghosts in the bathroom, and a professor who definitely shouldn't be trusted around children. Luke, a farm boy who just wanted to go to space college but got radicalized by an old wizard and immediately joined a galactic rebellion. Harry spends half his time saying, "I didn't ask for this." Luke spends half his time saying, "I'm ready. Probably. I think. Okay, maybe not." The wise old man. Dumbledore speaks in riddles, runs a school with zero safety codes, and definitely knows more than he tells anyone. Obi-Wan speaks in riddles, lies by omission, and sends a teenager into mortal danger after 20 minutes of training. Here's a vague hint instead of clear instructions. Now go fight evil. The Shadow Voldemort. Bald, noseless, dramatic theater kid energy, deeply invested in immortality and bad HR practices. Vader. Space dad with asthma, a cape budget bigger than most planets, and unresolved emotional trauma. Voldemort equals, I fear death. Vader equals, I fear feelings. The companion/the trickster support system. Ron. Loyal best friend powered by snacks and anxiety. Hermione. The brain cell of the trio and living proof that reading the manual helps. Han Solo. Space pirate with commitment issues and legendary side-eye. Chewbacca. Walking carpet of emotional stability and roaring wisdom. The anima/feminine strength. Hermione. Solves problems through intelligence, preparation, and sheer academic rage. Leia. Solves problems through leadership, sass, and roasting smugglers in real time. Hermione equals, I read a book about this. Leia equals, I'll punch a fascist and then fix your bad plan. The trickster, chaos gremlin who forces growth. Fred and George, walking prank factories who weaponize humor against authoritarian teachers. Han Solo, pretends he's not a hero until the last second and then dramatically returns like he's in a rock opera. Both heroes confront their shadow to become whole. Both mentors withhold critical information like it's a personality trait. Both universes prove teenagers should not be in charge of saving civilization. And both stories are basically kid with abandonment issues meets mysterious old wizard and accidentally becomes a messiah. Star Wars: A New Hope. It was almost a disaster. The studio had zero faith in the movie. Executives thought it would flop harder than a stormtrooper trying to hit a target. Early test audiences were confused because the film just throws you into a galaxy mid-war with no explanation. George Lucas basically said, "You'll figure it out. Or not." C-3PO was inspired by a silent film robot. The design comes from Metropolis, 1927, meaning Star Wars secretly owes a debt to German expressionist cinema. Anthony Daniels had to wear a metal suit that was so uncomfortable he could barely sit. Method acting, or medieval torture. You decide. Chewbacca was inspired by George Lucas's dog. Lucas had a giant Malamute who rode in his car like a co-pilot. So yes, the galaxy's most loyal warrior is basically a big space puppy with a crossbow. The music saved the movie. Early cuts of the film felt slow and awkward. Then John Williams dropped that legendary score and suddenly everything felt epic. Even people walking down hallways looked like destiny was happening. The Death Star trench run equals World War II footage in space. Lucas used real World War II dogfight footage as inspiration for the final battle. The editing style is basically historical war movie, but with lasers. Darth Vader's voice. Wasn't the actor in the suit. David Prowse wore the suit and did the acting. James Earl Jones dubbed the voice later, giving Vader that legendary "I am your future therapy bill" energy. Obi-Wan was supposed to be way flashier. Lucas originally imagined more elaborate lightsaber fights. Alec Guinness was like, "Sir, I am a distinguished British actor," so the duel became slower and more dramatic, which accidentally made it iconic. The opening crawl was considered weird. Studios thought audiences wouldn't sit through scrolling text. Now it's one of the most recognizable openings in film history. Lesson: sometimes the weird idea wins. George Lucas took a pay cut. For toys, instead of a big directing fee, Lucas asked for merchandising rights. That decision turned into one of the most lucrative deals in entertainment history. Basically, the Force equals action figures. Harrison Ford was just helping with auditions. He was originally reading lines with actors as a favor, not auditioning. Lucas liked his delivery so much he was like, "Congrats, you're a smuggler now." Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Harry, Ron, and Hermione were almost different actors. Daniel Radcliffe was picked early, but Rupert Grint sent in a rap audition tape to get the role of Ron. Yes, Ron Weasley rapped his way into Hogwarts. Emma Watson almost quit after the early films because filming took up most of her childhood. Imagine an alternate universe with a different Hermione. Chaos. Dumbledore changed actors. Mid-series, Richard Harris played Dumbledore in the first 2 films. After he passed away, Michael Gambon took over, which is why Dumbledore suddenly went from calm grandpa wizard to intense energy and dramatic shouting. Voldemort's creepy look had a reason Ralph Fiennes originally had a full prosthetic nose. CGI removed it later, meaning he was basically acting like a snake man while wearing a perfectly normal nose during filming. Hogwarts is a real mashup of real places. Different castles and cathedrals in the UK were used, including Alnwick Castle, where Harry first learned to fly. The Great Hall set had real candles at first, until they started dripping wax on everyone like magical workplace hazards. The letters scene used thousands of props. For the scene where Hogwarts letters flood the Dursley house, the crew made thousands of physical envelopes. Imagine being the intern whose job was write tiny wizard addresses all day. Alan Rickman knew Snape's secret from day one. J.K. Rowling told him Snape's full backstory early. That's why he plays the character like he knows everyone else is in a different movie. Daniel Radcliffe went through hundreds of wands. He had a habit of using them like drumsticks between takes. Production basically had a hairy, stop-destroying magical property budget. The chocolate frogs were real and gross. Some candy props were actual edible treats. Actors said many of them tasted terrible after sitting under hot lights all day. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and hit that notification